Welcome to the NCHA. My name is Steve Schauer, Director of Communications. Tonight I'm joined by Ashley Ommen from St. Norbert College. She is the December Women's Player of the Month. Congratulations, Ashley.
Thank you.
Let's jump into kind of what happened in the month of December. For St. Norbert as a whole, you guys were 3-1-0 overall, 2-0 in conference play. You individually, Ashley, 2-0 in between the pipes. 0.85 goals against average, led the league, 37 saves, 939 save percentage with a shutout. When you hear those numbers and kind of what the team has done as a whole, what are your thoughts on the month of December?
I'd say we're really proud of ourselves, coming out strong, finishing off that first half, obviously with a really good performance in and out of conference. It builds a lot of confidence in us going into the second half. So we're just really proud of what we've done so far and looking forward to continuing to keep working into the second half of the season.
Let's talk about you individually, what you did in the month of December. Can you talk about your performance and kind of how would you assess your play?
Yeah. So as you had mentioned, the stats kind of speak for themselves, but honestly just proud of the way I've come out and the opportunities I've been given to start in those games versus Tryon and I believe the other one's Point, Stevens Point, and so just coming out and being able to help my team out and get a win, one in overtime, one in regulation. And just do what I can to help them out. They do everything they can every night to make it easy on me with as few shots as possible, blocking shots, and scoring goals to win those games. So I do what I can to keep the pucks out of the net to return the favor for them.
When you look at the team as a whole for St. Norbert, currently you sit atop the NCHA standings, 24 points, 8-0 in conference. I mean, you haven't been touched or defeated yet. Speak to the team and what you guys have been able to do collectively.
Um, yeah, I think our focus has just been taking it one day at a time in practice, one game at a time, getting that Friday and then going after the Saturday games has been kind of our theme of the year. So just taking it one weekend at a time and just building those weekends on top of one another. And it's the plan for the second semester as well. So just continuing out with a good start this weekend in Minnesota and then building on top of that when we return back to conference play.
One question I have is you play 13 total games, 6 have ended in a shutout victory.
Mhm.
What has the offense and the defense been doing so well together in order to end games that way?
I mean, for the offense, just putting the puck in the net, communicating within themselves, and communicating with our D and even me and back in the net. And we just all build off of each other and just use one another to score goals, keep the puck out of the net, wherever it is we're on the ice, just using our teammates and kind of building as a team and relying on one another for all of that.
Is there something different happening this season compared to past years in your career, knowing that it's your senior year, you're undefeated in a conference through the first half of the year?
I mean, just sticking with it. I feel our team this year is just especially close. Our locker room culture is really great. All the girls, we all love each other a lot, and just being able to trust in one another and go out there on the ice and have a lot of fun. And I think that translates to the success we've been having so far this year.
The way you said that culturally, is there certain things that are done to get everybody on the same page to build those friendships, or is it just a matter of course of time as the years go on? Maybe a little bit older class, bringing in the freshmen, just different things. You kind of explain that kind of the tight knit that you guys have this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say our senior class, just ourselves, we're a really big class. I think there's 7 of us now, and we've been together for so long, and we all just know each other so well. And um, our classes underneath us, they come in and they see that, they see those relationships we have, they build up themselves, and then the classes again just getting along so well, meshing on and off the ice, building those relationships and being able to trust one another, being able to trust our coaches and know that we all have each other's backs, and that just translates on the ice and the success we have.
Being a senior, you've kind of been through the grind of a season, right? And there's going to be certain weekends that are circled over others. When we look ahead to the season, January 17th, 18th against Concordia, Wisconsin, home and home series, and then you get Adrian at home end of January, first day of February. Are those two, obviously, they might be circled on a calendar, knowing the way the NCHA standings right now, you three have kind of separated from the rest of the pack. Do you look ahead at all? Is it let's prepare for this weekend, knowing that next weekend is bigger? Kind of how do you guys go about getting ready for those 2 weekends I talked about?
Yeah, they're obviously on our minds and we're thinking about them and getting ready for that. But before we get there, we have Hamlin and Augsburg this weekend, who may not be in conference matchups, but are huge out of conference matchups. So the focus right now is our Friday night game against Hamlin. And once that's over, we'll move to Augsburg and then move on to Concordia. But it all builds on top of each other. So even though we have those two games first, we're thinking about Concordia in the back of our heads, but we got to make sure we take care of the two Minnesota teams first.
Makes sense. I do want to ask, you have been splitting time in goal with Kiera Markle. What has that been like being a senior, knowing that you're splitting time? What's the relationship with her? Kind of how does that work, knowing that it's not a one and a two, it's a 1A and a 1B?
Mm-hmm. I think it's great. The competition between us is great. It's really healthy for both of us. She's pushing me to be better every day and making sure that I'm on my toes and ready, and I do the same for her. I think it's a really great experience for me to have someone consistently pushing me, and I think it's a great learning experience for her as well as a freshman to come in, have a senior that she can look up to and just learn off of. So when I graduate and then it's her and our other goalie Grundle next year, they can do the same for our incoming freshmen.
Can you explain how does that work from a week to week standpoint? When do you know that you're going to be the starter? Does coach kind of let you sweat it out a little bit? Is it all based on practice? Kind of how does that work?
The way that our coach does it, he normally announces our lineup for Friday's game after Thursday's practice. So you have the week to earn that net, and then Thursday afternoon he'll announce the lineup, and then going into Friday so you can prepare mentally. And then Saturday's game is normally announced after video on Saturday mornings.
Okay. We talked defensively, 6 shutouts this season, great record. One of those things I would imagine is a connection to your penalty kill. As a team right now, you're seventh in the country in penalty kill. Can you talk through that specifically? Is it emphasize a practice, or is it just kind of come to based on you talked about a heavy senior class?
Yeah, we practice penalty kill every week. Make sure that our girls are just staying on top of the rotation, understanding their positioning where they're supposed to be. If we do need to switch players out, that they're comfortable in the positions that they're being put in. But also, we do have such a heavy junior and senior class on our team, so a lot of these girls have been in these positions for 3-4 years now, and are getting comfortable where they're at, and just continuing to push themselves to be even better. And obviously, that's shown in our PK percentage.
Ashley, I do want to ask, when we were emailing back and forth to set up this interview, I saw on the signature of your email, Student Athlete Advisory Committee, Student Athlete Development Committee. Could you share what are those about? What is your involvement and what's happening with those?
Yeah, so the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, our SAC group, is a student organization of about 40-ish students, all student athletes from the various teams on St. Norbert's campus. So we get together twice a month about to just kind of plan activities and events for student athletes at St. Norbert to just have a good community around here. And then the development committee, that is a faculty committee in which I'm the student representative on. So I represent all student athletes on St. Norbert's campus and helping just create a better culture from the athletics department standpoint on our campus.
Can you talk about that? I guess, how did you get to be the lead of that development committee? Is that something you were striving for? And then from a leadership standpoint, how is that helping you grow being the representative of all athletes to the faculty? I mean, that's got to be a unique situation, some of the meetings I'd imagine you're in.
Yeah, so I believe it was my sophomore year, or maybe the start of my junior year, one of those years. Our former SAC faculty member was our assistant hockey coach, Morgan Stacy, who was our assistant coach my freshman through juniors years. She stepped away this year to take on a bigger role in our athletic department. So she had mentioned the position to the whole SAC group in a meeting one night, saying that they were considering developing this committee on the faculty side. to have more focus on the student athlete development so that they could turn out more well-rounded student athletes at graduation. So they had mentioned that they were looking for students to be a part of this. There was originally two of us. One just graduated in May, and they haven't replaced him yet. But at the time, I was the chair of the Mental Health and Wellness Committee within our SAC group. So I was nominated for that student representative position due to my chair position.
How do you think that's helped you from a leadership standpoint on and off the ice, being involved in this development committee? You talked about the mental health committee now. I mean, it sounds like you're involved in a lot of different things on campus.
Yeah, I do a lot on campus in addition to hockey. So I'm going on to grad school to study sports psychology. So I have kind of started some of these committees at St. Norbert. I started a mental health group for student athletes here at St. Norbert, kind of a spinoff of the what used to be the Mental Health and Wellness Committee here within SAC. We made it its own thing. Um, but just it's helped me build relationships with our athletics department, with our athletic director, assistant athletic director. It's helped me be in positions myself to promote mental health at St. Norbert and kind of turn around that culture within athletics and just make that more of a common conversation around our campus and make it a comfortable thing that all of our student athletes know that they're supported and have resources here for them. And it's just kind of helped me myself learn more about myself as an athlete, my future career, and then where I'm going to go with that.
Would you, if you'd be willing to dive into the mental health component? Last year, I remember I was doing one of these player month interviews, and I believe it was a Trine men's player, and we talked about just the difficulties of going through COVID and all the things that he had to go through. From a student athlete perspective and mental health, there's a lot on a student athlete's plate, from academics to community service to the ice time that you have to do and leadership and all these things. How difficult is it at times from a mental health standpoint, but then also knowing that you have this committee now that you formed to kind of help each other get through the ups and the downs?
Yeah, I mean, as we know, student athletes, we take on a lot. We have our sport, we have academics, we have whatever else you choose to involve yourself in, whether it's work or extracurriculars or whatever it is. Um, and it's a lot and it gets overwhelming and can lead into things like anxiety, performance anxiety, depression, eating disorders, whatever it is for that individual. So we wanted to create a space on our campus where anyone who was struggling or had a friend who was struggling, they had a place that they know they could go to for help and find resources for whatever it is that they were dealing with.
You kind of answered my last question, was going to be what's next after graduation. You touch on grad school. Can you share kind of your professional career path? What are you hoping to do in a couple of years?
Yeah, so I'm in the process of applying to grad school now. I have actually an application due today that I got turned in to Denver University. So I'm applying to a total of 8 schools looking at both sports psychology and mental health counseling. So I'm planning to do a dual degree program, get both my counseling license as well as my mental performance coach license.
That's awesome. Some great aspirations, and you'll likely do great things. And Ashley, again, congratulations on being named the NCHA Women's Player of the Month.
Thank you.